my name is Ina, and welcome back to my floor. Today we're going to be looking at my Switch collection. So basically, I'm just going to be going through my consoles that I have for the Switch, and then also the games that I have acquired for the Switch over the last... Man, when did the Switch come out? Like 5 years ago? 4 years ago now? But yeah, we're going to go through them. I'm going to try and do it as alphabetically sort of as possible, and then some that you might see behind me, we'll go through at the end for the bigger boys, the special editions and stuff. So yeah, why not? Let's begin. Let's begin with an absolute classic. Animal Crossing New Horizons. I think everybody's quarantine game of choice. I think there's kind of no disputing that. I mean, like, this sold astronomically well. I mean, if you're an Animal Crossing fan, you're already across it for sure. But yeah, I mean, if you've never played it, it's a great little fun, casual simulator game that is really good to play with family. So, you know, if you've got a bunch of kids, this is a great game for them to play and for you to play with them. Yeah, highly recommend. Obviously, if you've seen my 3DS videos, you know I have the consoles for Animal Crossing. So yeah, 100% give this one a go if you haven't already. Okay, next up we have Astral Chain. So basically, Astral Chain is made by Platinum, who are just amazing game designers. I mean, they made Nier, Automata, and all the other ones as well. You just know when you're playing a Platinum game because of its combat style, and Astral Chain is no different. Astral Chain has some of the most fun combat I've ever played in a game. The only thing is, man, I wish it was on better hardware. The Switch obviously is a bit lacking in terms of its raw power, so you're playing this one at 30. But man, if you like really intricate, fun combat systems, definitely give Astral Chain a go. Don't sleep on it. It's another Platinum classic for sure. So yeah, absolutely. If you're in anime games and games with deep fighting systems, give Astral Chain a go for sure. Next up, Bravely Default 2. A classic JRPG, builds upon the series that was made on the 3DS. If you like turn-based strategy games, this is another really good one. Really interesting characters, really well written. Yeah, for sure. Give it a go if you're into JRPGs. Highly recommend. What do we got here, baby? All right, we got Bounty Battle. Now, this is an interesting one. This is one that I picked up at a local game shop that I really didn't expect to see there, to be honest with you. Bounty Battle is... How do you put it? It's a Smash Bros. Inspired game, but it's using indie characters from games like, you know, Dead Cells, Guacamelee. What else do we have in this thing? I think we have Darkest Dungeon characters. It's really cool in premise. Unfortunately, the gameplay kind of isn't great. I really bounced off this one really fast, but I really wanted to like it. It's kind of a hard recommend because I don't think it plays particularly well, but if you really love all these indie games that are in this, definitely pick it up for sure. It's just that the combat's a bit clunky, to be honest, but yeah, an interesting one for sure. Give it a look if you haven't already. Yeah, all right, a really cool one, one of my favorites, Coffee Talk. Coffee Talk is kind of this weird mix between a narrative game that's kind of like a click through, but also like this coffee mini game in it where you're making coffees that people want for them, and you can do things like latte art, etc. But yeah, really sweet, really wholesome game. It's super well written. This game had me laughing quite a lot, to be honest, especially with the police officer character. If you played it, you know what I mean. But yeah, super wholesome game. This is from Strictly Limited Games, so this is a limited print run. This one was definitely a bit more than what I wanted to pay for it, but I'm really glad that I have it because, yeah, it's a super sweet game. Yeah, and I really love it. If you haven't played it, it's pretty cheap on the actual like digital storefront on the Switch as well. I think it's also on like Steam and stuff like that. If not, if you're into those sort of like, you know, talking games that are more narrative driven and stuff, definitely give it a check. It's really cool. Highly recommend. We have Diablo 3 Eternal Collection. I mean, what else is there really to say? I mean, this is going to be kind of a short one. It's Diablo 3. If you like, you know, action RPGs, you already know what it's about. It's really cool. Looter game, fighting demons. It's pretty much it summarized. It runs super well on the Switch, 60 FPS. Really nice. Still looks great on that console, especially on the OLED. If you got one of those, definitely check it out. But, I mean, not much else to say. It's Diablo 3. It's pretty good, man. Hey, another fun one, Eastward. This is such a sweet RPG. It really reminds me of like the old sort of classic RPGs you would kind of find on like a PlayStation 2, like that sort of era of RPG. Really funny. This game has probably made me laugh the most out of any game this year. And it's just kind of like a classic, beautiful pixel art drawn RPG that's really more about like kind of the adventure. The combat's like pretty, it's like okay, it's serviceable, but you're really here for the story and the exploration. Yeah, super pretty, super well written. Please give Eastward a look if you haven't already. Definitely pull the trigger on it. Fire Emblem Three Houses. I mean, I love Fire Emblem games, and this one is no exception. The only thing that's like, it's a part that I feel like most people either love or hate, where I was just kind of in the middle of the road with it, which is like kind of the relationship system. It definitely leans more into like kind of like a Persona sort of style relationship sort of system rather than the tactics itself, which is kind of primarily what the other ones are sort of more based on. But when it comes to its combat, it's still great. It's still Fire Emblem. If you've played Fire Emblem before, it's awesome. Yeah, it was just with the relationships and stuff and finding the items for everyone, it just kind of got a bit long in the tooth. I did end up making my way through it, but I just kind of stopped caring about picking up the items after like, I don't know, maybe like a month of the in-game timer. But yeah, super great tactics game. Give it a go if you haven't already. And if you like dating sims, there's a little something for everyone, as Nintendo likes to say. So definitely check it out. We have Kirby in the Forgotten Land. This game really took me by surprise. So this was my first ever Kirby game. I never got into Kirby until this game came out, because I was looking at it and I'm like, that looks like just pure wholesome fun. As it turns out, it was pure wholesome fun. You can also suck a car. That's pretty sick. You wouldn't download and suck a car.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer every night.
But yeah, really great game, super wholesome. Loved it. Music was incredible, of course. Yeah, definitely recommend Mr. Kirby here. We have Live Alive? Live Alive. I don't know. Edingina, can you just like throw something in there? I forget how this is pronounced. I'm pretty sure it's Live Alive, but you know, whatever. This is a old RPG that got remade in the beautiful new like 2.5D sort of sprite-based art. And it is a game that was never released to the West, and has now, through this remake, has now made it to the West. Still haven't touched it yet. Feels bad, man. I just haven't had the time to get around to it. I really want to, though. It looks super interesting. So I can't really tell you if it's worth a pickup yet or not. But, you know, hopefully I'll get back to it and maybe a review on the channel. Who knows? Luigi's Mansion 3, my first ever Luigi's Mansion game. This came bundled with my first Nintendo Switch console, which is there if it's in the background. But yeah, this was super fun and kind of challenging too, which is really cool. I didn't think it would be. I thought it would be more like definitely a kid's game, which it obviously it is. But it was actually pretty challenging, which was pretty sweet. Yeah, I mean, I love this game. I thought it was super sick. So, I mean, I've grabbed all of the other Luigi's Mansion games for the DS, except Dark Moon, I think. It's the last one I need to get. I'm definitely going to play through those as well. But yeah, Luigi's Mansion 3, great, super fun game. Highly recommend. Okay, we have Mario Rabbids and Kingdom Battles. It's an XCOM style of game, turn-based tactics. I mean, this thing has got glowing reviews and is one of the best turn-based RPGs of like the last like 10 years, according to most people. I've still yet to boot this one up. Got given this one for a friend, from a friend rather. And yeah, I was meaning to play this like, I don't know, maybe about a week ago. I was like, I feel like some XCOM gameplay. And then, you know, you get busy. So definitely want to still try this one out. Looks like a good time for sure. Mario Strikers Battle League Football. So now this is one that I was a bit disappointed with. So when I was growing up as a kid, eventually I bought something called an R4. I know, horrible human being, am I right? And they had all these basically on that R4. I put a bunch of the Mario Sport games that was available on the DS and 3DS system, or just the DS system. And man, I really loved Mario Basketball and the Strikers that they had for the DS. But man, I can't recommend this game it's pretty bare bones. I would say it's like nearly almost as bare bones as the games that are on DS. And that's coming from a kid's perspective who's looking at it through rose-tinted glasses. There's just not a lot happening here, and there's no real single-player mode, so that kind of sucks. But you know, if you're after just a really casual time with maybe one other friend or whatever, it's okay. It's like serviceable, but it's nothing amazing. Which really sucks. It feels like it's missing like a lot of content. But yeah, it's in the collection. I probably wouldn't have grabbed it had I known how bare bones it is, but oh well, what can you do? Monster Hunter Rise. Man, people love the Monster Hunter series. I've been really trying to get into it for ages. I've played this for probably about 20 hours, I want to say, on the Switch. And like, I get it. I get the draw of it, but man, it's just so hard playing this game on the Switch. I know that it's out on PC and stuff. Right now I don't really have a functional PC. So, I mean, I'm just recording everything off a laptop. So that's how it'd be. But yeah, essentially, yeah, it's pretty cool. RPG, make parts and gear out of the things you rip off the big old dinosaurs and stuff. Pretty sweet. It's using that RE engine. God, man, that RE engine is just so flexible. I kind of feel like I want to do a video on the RE engine. It's really impressive tech, but I digress. Yeah, Monster Hunter Rise, I've got it, played it a bit. It's pretty good. If you like this style of games, this is probably definitely up your alley. Definitely worth a pick up then. Okay, we have Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin. So this is more like a Pokemon style of game, more RPG based. Yet to play it. I picked it up because it was like literally $5. Don't really have much else to say about it, to be honest, because I haven't tried it yet. In the collection. Okay, we have Nintendo Switch Sports. This is kind of another one that's like pretty bare bones, unfortunately. There's just not a ton of content for it. However, volleyball is possibly one of the greatest sports ever created. I love playing volleyball in this. I mean, you got the classic there, like bowling as well, but it's kind of missing some of that magic from Wii Sports, to be honest. Like, I really wish baseball was still in there, but I mean, we're getting golf in 2 months or something. Cool, I guess.
Ball is in. Parking lot. Would you like to play again? You have selected no.
But yeah, I mean, if you got friends over and stuff, it's pretty fun, but you know, it kind of feels like it's missing a bit of soul. But anyway, in the collection, no less. Now, here's the thing. Okay, I don't want to do all of these individually. I kind of want to do them as a bunch, but essentially, Pokemon games for the Switch. So we've got Shining Pearl, Brilliant Diamond, Shield Sword, Let's Go Pikachu, and Let's Go Eevee, and Arceus. So, I mean, I'm a really big Pokemon fan. I've been playing it since DS was original. I know for a lot of people, most people started on the Game Boy. I wasn't allowed a Game Boy. I also didn't own one or have a friend who had one, so I never got to play them. But, you know, coming from DS and playing pretty much all those DS Pokemon games, I mean, the Switch has a pretty decent lineup of them, to be honest. I mean, out of all these, I think the most interesting one is obviously Arceus. Such a different... Well, yeah, it's not so different from the other Pokemon games, but the things that they have changed make it a much more interesting take on the Pokemon formula for sure. But, I mean, out of all of these, if we're not going with Arceus, I would say, I mean, I really like Diamond. Obviously, I'm biased. It's the first one I started with, so I really loved playing through Brilliant Diamond again. It was super nostalgic. I knew exactly pretty much all the routes still in my head of where to go, where Pokemon were. And I caught my first shiny ever on Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, which was a blue... Oh god, I forget the name. Metachamp? I forget. John, you know, throw it up on the screen if you got it. But yeah, got all the Pokemon games that are available on Switch. Yeah, love them. I'm really looking forward to Scarlet and Violet. I think they look super cool, super interesting. So, I mean, there's going to be another 2 added to this pile. I'll be also just showing B-roll footage if you want to see all the front covers of these as well. But yeah, super important franchise to me. Had to grab them all for the system, obviously. And yeah, let's move on to some other stuff. So, we've got Ring Fit Adventure. So, grab this as like as a lockdown way of kind of exercising, to be honest. It's actually pretty good. It's pretty fun. If you're someone who kind of, you know, struggles to kind of like get outside a lot, or you don't really want to go outside a lot, but you still kind of feel the need to do some fitness, Ring Fit Adventure is kind of sick, actually. It's actually really well done. It also kind of gamifies it. So if you know, really hate just going out and running, this really makes it feel like you're kind of more playing a game and not really realizing you're exercising. I mean, you'll figure it out after you do it, but while you are doing it, it's really cool. I really highly recommend it. It's a really good base point to start jumping off if you haven't done exercise in a while too. They've got a lot of modes, so for kind of any fitness level, so it's a really good jumping off point. Highly recommend it if you're looking to do something at home, if you're not confident in going out. Yeah, it's a really good product from Nintendo. Rune Factory 4 Special. I've got kind of, do I have all the Rune Factory games? Yeah, I do have all the Rune Factory games. I've got Rune Factory 1 to 3 on the DS systems, and then I've got 4, and you know what? I'll pull it up as well, may as well. Rune Factory 5. I really kind of like the sort of farming, chill sort of Zen games, and this just adds a bit more combat than say Animal Crossing or anything like that, so you kind of get a bit of everything involved. Yeah, I've kind of played the franchise for a while, and I played Rune Factory 1 like a ton as a kid. I never really got to play 2 or 3, and then yeah, these ones 5 I've played a lot of, and then 4 is just like one that I picked up to basically finish off the collection. But I mean, it kind of looks, it's more Rune Factory, so I'll probably end up playing it eventually. But yeah, Rune Factory games, super cool, really chill. If you're into those farming style of RPGs that Japan is, I mean, if you guys watch the latest Nintendo Direct, farming is back in a big way. So if you want to get in before those other farming games come out, you've got these two here. Will definitely kill some time for you. So we got Snack World, the dungeon crawl. So this is given to me by a friend yet again. I haven't touched it yet. Too many other video games to play. Not much else to say. Kind of looks fun. Not too sure. Anyway, another game in the collection. We've got Splatoon 2. I picked this up for a bargain. This was like, I don't know, maybe $10 pre-owned. And yeah, I wanted to give Splatoon a go because, I mean, it would be locked to the Wii U console and Wii. I can't remember if it's on Wii actually. Maybe it was just Wii U. Anyway, gave it a go. It's pretty fun. I think I'd like 3 more because it's kind of got a more fleshed out single player this time around. But yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it's nothing like mind blowing, but like I can understand why a lot of people do enjoy playing it. It's a pretty interesting take on, you know, the third person shooter genre. So yeah, Splatoon, it's in the collection. Sweet. Super Mario Odyssey. This was also given to me by my friend. He knows who he is. He knows who he is. Anyway, yeah, I've actually been playing this one, surprisingly. I'm not a Mario fan, typically. I know that's kind of sacrilegious to say, but I kind of suck at platformers by proxy. I mean, the only platformers really I ever played are not technically that much of platformers. You know, Jak, Ratchet and Clank. They're not super platformy. Not like the Mario series anyway, but I've been playing through this kind of bit by bit. It's really good. I mean, everybody knows it's really good. But yeah, need to bounce back into it, play some more levels for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think most people probably have this in their Switch collection, obviously. It's probably three that are coming up that I would say most people definitely have in their collections, but there it is. And here's another one of those ones, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Got this for pre-owned as well. I think it was around $20. It's another good deal considering most Nintendo games never drop in price. Yeah, it's cool, man. I mean, I main Donkey Kong. You always be spiking. That's the rule. No other move. You just spike. But yeah, it's really fun. I mean, what can you say? It's one of the greatest like arcade fighters of all time. There's so much content in this game that it's nearly overwhelming. I mean, yeah, great solid fighter. If you don't have it, definitely add it to your collection. It's super good. One that I've been playing on my new OLED. Shin Megami Tensei 5. It's essentially Persona. I feel like that's like some Shin Megami fan is gonna come in here and absolutely destroy me for this, but it's pretty much Persona, which is cool. I love Persona. This is pretty much just more of it. Highly recommend if you like that kind of turn-based RPG with sort of the school sort of environment with, you know, mixed with supernatural stuff mixed in. Yeah, really liking the story. It's actually really interesting. And yeah, made by Atlas, an Atlas classic. So yeah, definitely recommend if you like your JRPGs. Super interesting so far. Probably about 30 hours in now. Yeah, I think so. Triangle Strategy. Picked this one up a while ago. It's another tactics game. Uses, you know, more elevation style to give you advantages and things like that. Done in that really beautiful, like 2.5D Octopath style of art. Yeah, I mean, it's very political, the story. If you're really not into reading, it's going to be kind of a hard playthrough, especially when sometimes the dialogue is pretty long in the tooth and you're going to be reading for a long time before you get back to some combat. So if you're not really into that kind of style of thing, then definitely don't grab this one. But if you are really interested in kind of like, you know, political based stories and stuff like that, then definitely give this one a go. It's super good for that. Xenoblade 2. I mean, it's another Japanese RPG with just some of the most crazy storyline mixed with voice acting ever. If you played it, you know that every single person in this is British and they talk so much and say the same line. Number 2, I didn't quite like it as much as number 1. I'm not really sure why that is. I just sort of couldn't really get into the characters this time around. I hear Xenoblade 3 is awesome, and I really want to give that one a try for sure, but haven't added that one yet. But got Xenoblade 2. It's alright. I kind of stopped it around maybe the 30-hour mark. I just wasn't really clicking with it too much. But if you really love JRPGs, I mean, you'll probably be rewarded for sticking with it for sure. We've got The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. I mean, look, now here's where I get absolutely murdered on the internet. I understand. I get it completely, 100%, why people love this game and they think it's one of the greatest games of all time. I get it. How do I say this without getting murdered? I'm not that much of a fan of it, but I get it. Please don't hurt me. For me personally, I feel like after playing Elden Ring and then playing this open world and sort of its puzzle chambers and stuff, they feel kind of empty. It's kind of an empty open world. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I understand completely. But with weapon degradation and things like that, and kind of the world feeling a bit empty for how big it is, which is realistic. I get it. But for me, it just, those two major things kind of made it feel not very fun to play. And yeah, a lot of the puzzles as well were like either too easy or and just not involved enough. But I understand there are good ones. I've played some of the good ones. My friends have shown me some of the good ones. I get it. Please don't hurt me. Okay. Now let's move on to some of the more special editions that I've got for things. Let's go through them. Let's start off with this big chungus here. Oh god. Metroid Dread Special Edition. I mean, yeah, it's Metroid Dread Special Edition. It's really cool. I really love the box that it came in. Kind of sucks Nintendo's not really selling these out anymore to any like sort of different places. They're kind of doing them all off their own website, which means that they are really expensive because they don't really sell many, and then they go on to eBay for an absurd amount. But I'll be showing plenty of beef roll footage for a lot of these because they're pretty big to hold. But yeah, Metroid Dread, super sick. I mean, I love the Metroid games. My first one actually was one that I was playing on the Nintendo like mini console, whatever Metroid was on that one. It may have been the original actually. But yeah, really cool. I mean, obviously it was one of the birthplaces of the genre, obviously the Metroidvania. Yeah, love it. Love Samus as a character too. Really cool, really badass. And I know this is controversial. I really like the Emmys in this game, which are like the robots that hunt you down. I think it adds to the formula and feeling that you're not the only strong thing there, you know, that you're the one also being hunted while you hunt aliens. I think it's really cool. But yeah, I mean, that's the Metroid Dread Special Edition. Okay, we have Death's Door. I believe it is... Which one is this? Special Reserve Games? Yeah, Special Reserved Games. So this is Death's Door. This is copy 1,303 of 5,000. Yeah, I mean, like, what can you say? Death's Door is an indie darling. It's absolutely one of the best indie games that has released in the last 5 years for sure. Maybe even a decade, to be honest. If you haven't played it already, it's super awesome. Please give it a shot. On any console, it's great. Yeah, would highly recommend. Won't spend too much time on it. I don't really want to spoil too much about it, but it's an action RPG with a little souls in it, of course. I mean, everything has a little souls in it now. So yeah, definitely check it out for sure. All right, we've got 2 Point Campus in its enrollment edition, so the big box form. Yeah, I quite like this game. I was talking about it in my game pickups for August. It's not too bad. It's definitely really silly, really goofy. And it's more kind of like Sim style stuff, you know, building out your dream university and things like that. I'm liking it a little bit more now that I'm a bit deeper into it. But yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to say. It's another one of those Sim sort of management games. If you like that sort of style stuff, so like the 2 Point Hospital or, you know, any of that kind of stuff, definitely give it a look. It's really fun. Let's grab the one who's been sitting behind me. We've got Bayonetta Special Edition. Wowie wow wow. This thing is still sealed. I mean, it came sealed. I haven't opened it. I've played both the Bayonetta games. I've finished both the Bayonetta games. I love it. It is such an incredible action series. It's so fast. It's so fluid. The story is really cool, really interesting. Bayo has such a sick design. I'm really looking forward to the third one. Yeah, I mean, there's not really much else to say about this. I really had to cop it. They're probably my favorite action. Bayonetta is probably my favorite action game series of all time, so I definitely had to grab it for sure. Yeah, I mean, not much else to say really. The very last thing. Wow, we've made it to the end of the video. Transistor, limited run games. It's the collector's edition, big box style. This thing cost me an arm and a leg, but man, Transistor is in my top 5 games of all time. This game is super incredible. I mean, just like, you can either make it sort of an action game, or you can slow down time and make it nearly almost more turn-based. Well, you can make it turn-based essentially. The story is amazing. The soundtrack is just so unbelievably good. And the characters are super interesting and well written. It's made by Supergiant, the guys who made Hades. It was their work prior to Hades. It's just one of the most beautiful games that I've ever played. Just in all facets. And it's a super important game to me too. So I really wanted to get this. I did pay definitely more than what they were selling it for, but these were made before sort of I started getting into collecting, because it's quite an old one. I don't know if it has which number it is now, but anyway, yeah, super great. Love Transistor. Please give it a go, even if you have to get it on sale or whatever. Definitely check it out. The story is amazing, the music is incredible, gameplay is super fun and intriguing. But yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of it for my game collection. Other than that, I might just show some quick B-roll footage of my Switches. I mean, I've just got the standard neon one with the screen that's not super great anymore, and then I've got the OLED Splatoon Switch, essentially, which is my new one that I've been playing on. Yeah, I mean, yeah, not really much else to say, to be honest. I think that the Switch and the games that I have, I'm really happy with how my collection is currently. There's not really much at the moment that I really else want to add to it. Well, actually, there's one other game that I really want to add to it, but I think I'll be showing that in a later video once it arrives. But yeah, the Switch is such a great little console. If you've definitely been on the fence about pulling the trigger on a Switch, wondering if, you know, there's a big enough library, interesting games that can, you know, maybe if you're buying it for a family or anything like that, whether, you know, there's going to be enough there for everybody. It really does. It has a lot that is, you know, mature content, children content. It's got a lot going for it, and obviously because it's now on its 5th year, probably. I think we're at 5 years. I don't know. It's been a while since the Switch has been out. But yeah, that's been the video for today. Thank you for joining me on my floor. And in the next one, we might have a look at my PS2 collection. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you there. Peace.